Executive has discussed and we have concluded that we must put the following measures in place. First of all, maintenance of current household restrictions. This means a continuation of the restriction on meeting indoors and a limit on the number who can meet in a garden. There are existing exemptions for childcare and maintenance and other matters which will stay in place. However, as close contact economy is proposed for closure, it would be consistent with that to prohibit the provision of those services, for example hairdressing, in a domestic setting. Bubbling is to be limited to a maximum of 10 people from 2 households. No overnight stays in a private home unless in a bubble. Work from home unless unable to do so. In guidance, we will advise universities and further education to deliver distance learning to the maximum extent possible, with only essential face-to-face learning where that is a necessary and unavoidable part of the course. Closure of the hospitality sector, apart from deliveries and takeaway for food, with the existing closing time of 11 o'clock remaining. Other takeaway premises will be then brought into line with hospitality with a closing time of 11 p.m. Retail will stay open. However, there will be urgent engagement with the sector to ensure that retail is doing everything it can to help suppress the virus. Closure of close contact services, apart from those meeting essential health needs, which will be defined in the regulations to ensure continuation of essential health interventions and therapeutics. This will not include complementary treatments. No indoor sport of any kind or organised contact sport involving household mixing other than at elite level. No mass events involving more than 15 people, except for allowed outdoor sporting events where the relevant number for that will continue to apply. Gyms may remain open, but for individual training only, with local enforcement in place. Places of worship are to remain open, with a mandatory requirement to wear face coverings when entering and exiting, and this will not apply to parties to a marriage or civil partnership. Wedding ceremonies and civil partnerships to be limited to 25 people, with no receptions. This will be implemented on Monday, the 19th of October. Venues providing the post-ceremony or partnership celebration may remain open for this purpose this weekend, but may not provide other services for people who are not part of the wedding or partnership, and this will be limited to 25. Funerals and committals to be limited to 25 people with no pre- or post-funeral gathering. In guidance, no unnecessary travel will be advised. Off licences and supermarkets will not be permitted to sell alcohol after 8 p.m. and we believe the above restrictions should apply for 4 weeks, and the continuation or amendment of any element would require executive approval. In education, the half-term holiday break will be extended from the 19th to the 30th of October, with schools reopening again on Monday the 2nd of November. To permit this, the Department of Education will allocate to schools 2 of the optional days and the remainder of additional time through exceptional closure days. As across other jurisdictions, the issue of schools, along with other considerations, will be kept under continuous review by the Executive in the weeks and months ahead. Now, we fully appreciate that this will be a difficult and worrying news for a lot of people. The Executive has taken this decision because it is necessary, and we discussed the impacts in great detail, and we do not take this step lightly. We want these measures to have 2 impacts. Firstly, on the COVID transmission rates, which must be turned down now, or we will be in a very difficult place very soon indeed. And secondly, we believe it marks a point where everyone, each and every one of us, can take stock and go back to the social distancing messaging that is vitally important. We will, of course, be engaging with sectors and working on supports as a matter of priority. We are asking all children and young people and their parents to help us in a very particular way during the next few weeks. Please make sure that your children and young people follow the social distancing arrangements during this time, limit socialising as much as possible, and use the time in as positive a way as you can. We will need to exit these arrangements most carefully. They will be put in place during Friday of this week and will be there for 4 weeks. Any extension or amendment to them will require a decision of the Executive. We must reach a different place on both the numbers and on getting back to the basics of social distancing, and I know that everyone in this chamber will want to work with us on that. Mr. Speaker, small acts can have a large and important contribution to managing COVID-19. So wash your hands, practice social distancing, wear face coverings. Small acts, but vitally important. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.